Hey guys, thanks for joining me. It's the first video on Pop 'em Up Life and the first video in our Sanity series. So today we're going to be looking at journaling. We're going to look at how to choose a journal, how to create a routine and where you can fit journaling in. Quickly jump over a few types of journaling, how you can get started, and a few pointers for beginning to write your journal before you start your very individual journey. As always, really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed. Hit the bell icon so you get notifications of when we've got new videos. You can also check out our other channels, Pop 'em Up Live Food and Pop 'em Up Live Chem. They'll be linked in the description below. Awesome. Let's head over to my desk and see what we've got cooking. Okay, first thing we're going to want to look at is obviously choosing a journal. Really, I have two main rules that I would say you should try and follow when you're picking a journal. The first is to make it special. That doesn't mean you have to spend the earth. All we're talking about here is something that you're going to be proud to write in, something that may be aesthetically pleasing, or something that just feels like it can do the purpose for you. You don't want to be doing this on individual scraps of paper and trying to collate information. You just want somewhere where you can build a routine and this is your space to express yourself. Rule 2 may sound a little bit strange or specific, but I would always opt when you're buying a new journal for plain paper. It may be that initially you want to just write and lines may be helpful, but there might just be times when you want to draw, sketch, or just scribble or jot something down that doesn't fit the format of lined or squared paper. And I think plain paper just allows you to be that little bit more honestly expressive without being led by the page. So I have a few of these Leuchtturm 1917 journals. I think that's how you pronounce it. I will pop a link in the description below where you can buy these. They just have lovely, high quality plain paper that really I just enjoy writing on. And they aren't hugely expensive, so that works for me. That brings us to our next session, the types of journaling. There are many different types of journaling, and this will not be an exhaustive video, but we're going to focus on types of journaling that are focused around helping you learn more about yourself. We can break this into two main categories: unstructured and structured. So here I have an example structured journal, the Who Am I journal from the School of Life. I'll pop a link in the description below for that as well. This journal is set up in sections from psychology to family and culture. I also have this one question a day multi-year journal over here, which has just one question a day. So we've got structured, and now we can look at unstructured journaling. And by unstructured, we just mean that you give the journal its characteristic form, style, and purpose. Again, there'll be a link in the description below for all of these different types of journals. Okay, so you've got yourself a journal. Now what do you do? Well, the first step is we're going to need to build a routine to form a habit. Now, I'm not going to go into routine fully at the moment, but if you would like a video on creating a meaningful, productive, and invigorating morning routine, let me know in the comment section below and I'll make a video on it. Back to our journaling then, and just to give you an example, my personal routine when I wake up every morning, once I've had a coffee, is to read whatever I'm reading at the time, answer my little one question a day journal, and then write in my unstructured journal. The point being that you really want to create a relaxed and enjoyable space to actually conduct this activity in, and it's just going to encourage you even more to continue with the habit. And that was it, until it got more complicated for me. In fact, I learned how complex dialoguing with my inner self can be, and often I found it too tiring to attempt every morning, and I need more time to be considered and use techniques of self-analysis as opposed to journaling as such. That means that I write in the Who I Am journal and have also started a separate journal more specifically for self-analysis. This is a more focused approach than what I'm covering today. And if you would like a separate video more specifically on self-analysis, then comment in the comment section below. The point being, whether you have a daily or a weekly routine, you need to try and stick to it in the beginning and then it will become a habit. That said, I would still recommend that if you're just getting started, especially in the time we've currently got at the moment, to try and go for a daily journal, as you'll feel more comfortable with the process sooner. Right, let's get you started then. Tip 1 is to be specific, or why I have loads of journals now. So I now have, for example, a separate dream journal, as I've realised if I try and write about everything I want in one journal, it can lose focus and coherence. That's why I would recommend starting one and saying, this is going to be for me to express my feelings about my day and my life, for example. As you can see, that's specific, but it in no way limits the amount of things that you have to write about. That brings me to the second tip, being kind to yourself. Avoid perfectionism in all its guises. Grammar and punctuation are not important here. Don't let delusions of grandeur about who in a distant generation will read this book. No one. The goal here is not a memoir. You can write one of those, but that's not what we're attempting here. So there's no need to edit, draft, or rewrite what you write in this journal. My last tip then is to make yourself a promise. In my first journal, this white one just here, I look back and I find my writing drenched in description of the day and altogether avoidant. So I made a promise to myself in my second journal, and it's written here at the front, and it is to be more emotionally invested. And that just really set the tone for the journal. And so I liked that, and I liked that I wanted to improve and grow. So in my third journal, I made myself further promises, and they were to allow hurt, attempt detailed description, incorporate dreams, and be honest. Now, I've since realised that incorporating dreams isn't the best goal to have, and I have a separate blue dream journal just up here, but that's fine. I've grown from it. You can do the same. Okay then, so what about writing this journal? Well, in the end, the scope and the structure will come down to you. My entire second journal was written as poetry because that helped me engage with the promise that I'd given to myself at the beginning of that journey. However, I've now reverted back to prose as I feel slightly more comfortable in confronting myself directly. So a couple of more general pieces of advice before I get into a more structured example of how you could get started is, in general, we want to not censor our thoughts because you never know what things are going to lead to. And this is why you want to cultivate allowing your emotions to flow freely. That may not be always coherent and you may not always be able to express ideas, but that's fine. If you're finding it hard to adequately express yourself, then join the club. It's normal to find these kind of things difficult, not just at the beginning, but all of the time. If some of this advice seems a little bit too vague at the moment, I got you. Let's have a look at some specific questions for your journal entries. So, question 1 is, what am I anxious about? Now, here you don't have to be specific if you can't find the words. You may write one word, a list, or maybe sometimes a name. It could just be a collection of ideas, or sometimes even things that's nonsense to others or even yourself. That's okay. Once you have this, you're going to ask yourself a couple of questions regarding this. Firstly, what is this anxiety about? By that, I mean, what could actually happen with regards to this anxiety? What are the outcomes of these fears? Play the whole calamity out. Take this to the worst case scenario and describe how you might still be able to get on with your life if things were to go to that absolute worst case scenario. Alright, moving on to question 2. So question 2 is, what am I upset about and with whom? So this can initially seem quite easy. So all you're going to have to do is retell an upsetting situation in as much detail as you see fit. But then the more difficult part is describing that situation in which that person has done these things to you, assuming they're not wholly evil. As in, how could this be explained? How could a personally decent human being that you know have done this terrible thing to you, have wronged you in this way? Last question then, question 3. So this question is, what am I currently excited, ambitious, envious, or desiring of? So first thing you're going to do is you're going to describe in as much detail as you feel necessary the things that have made you feel this way. Then what it would mean to actually change and actually do things to orient your life in the direction of those things. Is that something you want to do? If it is, what are the things that are missing in your life that make you feel like you want to do that? What do you need to do? Do you need to overcome something? Do you need to do something and make that change happen? The goal with this kind of journaling is self-knowledge, which is of course an endless challenge. However, with better self-awareness, we're able to better adapt to change, grow, and feel like we have determination over our lives. There's no guarantee. Journaling will only help you if you bring authenticity to the pages. You'll be surprised at the barriers you put up, especially when you're alone. Happy journaling, guys. Thanks for watching the first video in the Sanity series. Really appreciate it if you like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Please comment below if you've got any suggestions of topics you want to see. Check out our other channels, they'll be linked in the description below. Thanks and have a great day, guys.